Thanks for clicking on State of the City. My name is Todd Prafke. I'm the City Administrator here in St. Peter. Today is the 20th. It's Wednesday the 20th, and it's about 4:30 in the afternoon, give or take a little bit. I think, although I've been kind of sequestered in my office most of the day, I think it's partly sunny, mostly sunny outside, and the temperatures were supposed to be up there. So I hope you've had the opportunity, or will this evening, to have the opportunity to get outside if you have a few minutes and use one of the great sidewalks or trails that are located here in St. Peter. Since this is State of the City, we have a tradition here of really covering kind of two broad topic areas, the first of which is a workshop. And so we're going to talk about the workshop from just a couple of nights ago, so on the 18th, and then a few tidbits of information as you live, work, or play in St. Peter. So with that, let me talk about the City Council workshop. There you can see the primary agenda items. You can take a look at those. So the first of which was a presentation by the Community Development Department. And so, by the way, this information is also wholly available. The whole packet here is on our website. So I'll put a link to that underneath, or try to remember to put a link to that. And you can see the areas that are covered by Russ and his team. And so he gave a really nice presentation about some of the activities that are going on, and a few miscellaneous pieces of information as well. So as you may know, or you may recall from previous states of the city, that department heads come through on a once a year, sometimes a little bit more basis, and talk about what's going on in their department. So it was Russ's turn, again, Community Development Department presentation. The second agenda item we had in there was EV charger presentations. As some of you may be aware, we have purchased, well, we've got two. One we got for free, and one we are purchasing, electric vehicle chargers. So each of those chargers will have a supercharger, or a class 3 charger, and a class 2 charger attached to them. So one of those is going to be located at the food co-op. So it's not quite there yet. We hope within the next 60 days or so. We're still waiting for delivery of the unit. And then the second one, the council had talked about two potential locations. So we did some analysis and fed them back about where the second location should be. And so they're ready to go with that. So the second location, again, on this packet, you can see a map of where that is. But the second location is going to be along Nassau, so on the east side of 169 on Nassau, on the south side of the roadway. So right next to what used to be the Quest building is now the CenturyLink building. I'm trying to think about what the phone company name was before Quest. US West. It was US West, I think, and then Quest, and then CenturyLink. But anyway, there's a parking lot on the west side of that building. That's actually a city-owned parking lot. It's called parking lot number 2. And so we're going to put one of the charging stations there. So we have one on each side of Highway 169, both of them in the downtown. So lots of benefit can be had by businesses in the area who have customers that might drive electric vehicles. Now there'll be a charge for folks hooking and charging their vehicles. So we're still working on how some of the nuts and bolts work out, but having locations is a great start. And hopefully within 60 days, we'll have EV charging stations at one of those, if not both of those locations. So we're excited about that. The council also talked about snow removal policy, and they're going to talk a little bit more about that on Monday night's council meeting. This isn't exactly what I would call a new policy. This is more of a compilation of a couple of different policies that are already in place. And the goal is to make it a little bit more user-friendly and promote a little bit more, so people have the opportunity to know why we plow a certain way, when we plow, how is it prioritized, who pays for what's the cycle, how are trails handled, what happens if a mailbox gets knocked over, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, watch for that. That will be very interesting. And I also know we'll be talking with more specifically, we'll be talking with in the future downtown businesses about snow removal on parking lots and pushing snow out into the street and stuff like that. So anyway, that's part of that overall discussion. We also talked about goal session schedule, and the next goal session is scheduled for June 29th. We try and typically meet on the 5th Monday when there's a 5th Monday in a month, so that's June 29th. Also talked about virtual meetings and how does that work, what happens in the future, and so there'll be a little bit more discussion about that moving forward. But right now we're on a virtual platform, GoToMeeting. So if you want to participate in council meetings or even watch them as we stream them on GoToMeeting, there are a couple opportunities to do that. So look on our website for that, but you'll see on the bottom of all our agendas, we've got information now about how that works. So we're going to be in that mode at least for a little bit during the emergency declaration by the governor and by the city council. And I also provided a COVID-19 update. You'll see that. I try and do that every workshop and every council meeting now, and talk about some of the things that are going on relative to the impact that COVID-19 is having on city operations and services we're providing and all kinds of things like that. I've talked many times about how now transit is doing delivery of Meals on Wheels. So that's one of the things that sometimes gets talked about. So anyway, that's kind of the list. So let me then, since I'm at 5.5 minutes already, talk about some of the tidbits of things that I hope are interesting to you. So you've maybe seen me talk about this a couple of different times, and so I do want to hit it one more time. This should have come to you, but there's great information on our website, and I'll make sure that we have a link to that. So this is about rebates that are available in 2020 from the City of St. Peter Electric Utility. And so you'll see often that I focus on that Energy Star logo and what value that is when you buy things with Energy Star. But frankly, pretty much if you buy something with an Energy Star logo, not entirely, but pretty much, if it's an Energy Star logo, you either got a deal on it from a local store like light bulbs, or you're eligible for a rebate. So to check on that for sure, either pull this out of your file cabinet if you kept it, or check out our website that I'll have below, and you can make sure that you're able to get that rebate. Fill in a little bit of paperwork. There's paperwork with everything, and we'll be happy to get you a residential rebate on some of your appliances, light bulbs, all kinds of different stuff is in there. So please check that out. We're happy to do that for you. And in that note, I had somebody mention to me the other day, we just got this stuff in the mail too, helping you grow your rebate savings. This isn't us, this is CenterPoint Energy. So a lot of us have natural gas furnaces or boilers, or maybe a clothes dryer or something. And so check this out too. They have a great website too, so it's worth checking it out. Save some money from the city, get some rebates from the city and from CenterPoint Energy as well. All right, that's that. Dogs in parks. I got to mention dogs in parks. A couple of months ago, we talked about this quite a bit, and as the weather's gotten nicer, more and more people are out with their dogs. So here's kind of the scoop. Dogs are not welcome in parks. Now, they can be on the sidewalk, on the outside edge of the park. You got to pick up after your dog. But they can be on the sidewalk on the edge. But like at Gorman Park, they can't be playing in the playground area, and specifically not pooping in the playground area. What the heck? So don't do that. Take your dog around the outside. Give your dog a walk. Dog doesn't want to be on the swing, probably. I mean, maybe somebody's dog does, but the dog shouldn't be on the swing set or those types of areas. So you can be around the edges on the sidewalks, but pick up after your dog, but they're not really allowed in parks. And we have lots of people out at Community Spirit Park, which is the park by the high school, that are throwing a tennis ball or frisbee and their dog is running like crazy. Dogs are not supposed to be out there other than on the sidewalks or on the trails, and you're supposed to pick up after your dog. Your dog just isn't supposed to be freewheeling. I know this because I have some, and mine aren't always the best behaved either, but they poop, and you got to pick that up. And so there, we have a couple of places where dogs are allowed. So dogs are allowed in the Mill Pond Park, which is down here by City Hall on Front Street. And then now, well, today maybe not, but usually we have 2 dog parks that are available. So there's the one that was out by where Whiskey River used to be, right, on the east side of Minnesota, the Minnesota River. And now we have a new one that's going to open in a week or two here that's located on Swift Street. So look for that. Take your dogs there. Take your dogs on the sidewalks and trails, not running loose in the parks, not in the parks, but on the sidewalks and trails, and pick up after your dogs. And the world's a great place, and your dog has a great time, and so does everybody else. So please help us with that. Please help us with that. I also want to mention that last week was on Thursday was Police Officer Memorial Day, and so a shout out to all the law enforcement folks in our community, whether they work here, whether they're police officers or sheriff's deputies. We have great officers within our community, and so they do a lot of great work in protecting us and helping things within our town, not just law enforcement things either, by the way. And so a big shout out and thank you to all of those folks. We really want to recognize them on Police Officer Memorial Day. Last week was also Hospital Week, so way to go for everybody that works at hospitals, and thanking all the nurses and everybody that's taking care of us, especially during this time of COVID-19. But certainly other times too. We need them other times too, so thanks to them as well. So thanks to those 2 emergency service groups, and they do important things for our community, especially when we need them. They're very important. I also want to mention the hot sheet. So the hot sheet is our electronic newsletter, and from time to time I talk about this. I'm going to put a link on our underneath this about how you can get our hot sheet, and you can email us, and we'll put you on the distribution list. So every Wednesday, 49 or so Wednesdays a year, the hot sheet comes out. We send it directly to your email box. If you don't want that, don't email us, send it to you, and we won't, but you can pick it up on our website as well. So I wanted to mention that. There's lots of great information that gets included in here. Most weeks I write a little bit of a column about things that are going on, but we talk about everything from when brush pickup is, when leaf pickup is, to snow removal, to tornado, severe weather awareness week. All kinds of things are covered. It is a handy thing that we put out and worth a quick read every week that it comes out. So anyway, we'd hope that you would sign up for that. I also want to mention some COVID issues. Let me focus on 2 or 3 specifically. So city offices are open but closed to the public. That will change in the next 2 or 3 weeks or so. And so watch for information about that. I want you to be aware and that includes the community center. But I got to tell you, there kind of be some stratified things that go on. So although a specific date has not been set for the community center to open, I think in the next few weeks, but it might not include the gym. It might not include the running track. There may be other restrictions that go on with that, but we're working to make sure that those things can be done. And we're really watching the guidelines and guidance from the Minnesota Department of Health, from the Minnesota DNR, who works with parks and other things. And so we want you to be aware of that. And then associated with parks, we are planning to open park restrooms on June 1st. So June 1st, but be aware, as we open those are only being cleaned once a day, 7 days a week, but once a day. And typically that's sometime in the morning between 5 and 8 or 9 in the morning is when that's being cleaned. So we'll have some additional signage up there, but we want you to make sure that you understand that June 1st will be open, but we're specifically only cleaning at those certain times. We can't clean them 3 or 4 times a day. We just don't have the resources to make that go. So we want to make sure that you know that they're available, but after that, 5 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, other people are using them too. And so you got to weigh appropriately whether you feel comfortable using them in this strange new world of COVID. Watch for those signs. Know that that's going on as well. I've had a number of people talk to me about the pool. So here's where we're at with the pool. I don't know what's going to happen with the pool for sure. Right now, I'm hoping that we'll be able to open, but the devil will be in the details. So it's great, and I know the governor talked today and said there'll be some new information coming out on pools, and they think pools will be able to open. But there'll be additional guidance that's provided to pool operators like us, and we'll look at that guidance, those restrictions, those new rules that have to be in place, and decide whether we can meet those effectively to keep all of us safe, not just you as someone that might want to use the pool, but lifeguards and others, and see if we can do that. And then there'll be a discussion with the city council about that. The city council wants to review this pools much more closely than they regularly would, and so that's cool. Cool at the pool. And so we'll be talking with them as we're able to analyze that additional guidance. And so watch for that, because we want to keep you aware of what's available and what's going on as well. Lastly, I want to mention MRVT. MRVT, Minnesota River Valley Transit in St. Peter and in Le Sueur, is free dial-a-ride. So if you're a dial-a-ride customer, or I guess if you're not, you might want to give it a try since it's free. Funding is being provided through the federal government with the CARES Act, and so watch for that. We're really excited now. It's free through the end of August. We think that will be extended, but we're not 100% sure yet. So watch for more information about that. But if you've never used the bus before, now's a great time to give it a little go. It's free, and so give it a little chance. Transit in our communities is great, and in regular years, like in St. Peter, we'll do 50,000+ rides, and in Le Sueur we'll do 20,000+ rides. So each year we're doing 70,000-ish rides, give or take a little bit. So we'd love one of those rides to be you. So give us a ring. I'll put a link to their website and a phone number in kind of the suggestions or the comments underneath too. So I think with that, I'm just about at the end, other than doing this. Right, here's where you can email me. Here's where you can see our website. Here's our Facebook. Here's a phone number. Give me a ring if you have any questions. Here's our Twitter handle. My gosh, Twitter handle. We're even on Twitter. And this is our YouTube channel to see council meetings, workshops, county commissioner meetings, and school board meetings. I am almost at 15 minutes. That's more than enough. Thanks for clicking on State of the City. It's great to see you today. Hope to see you in the future. Stay positive, test negative.